There's a reason why Seville is considered one of the most magical cities in Europe, where East meets West around every single corner. In this video, I'm taking you along on my vacation to explore this stunning place. From top attractions and historic squares to local food, prices, and where to stay. We'll get lost in the narrow, orange-scented streets of the Old Town, feel the burning passion of flamenco, and experience the contrast between ancient palaces and futuristic architecture. If you're planning a trip here, or just want to fall in love with Seville, you are definitely in the right place. Get ready, grab your flight tickets, and let's head straight to Seville. We are kicking things off by diving straight into the beautiful streets of Seville's city center before hitting the iconic monuments. Right away, you realize how unique these streets are. Super clean, peaceful, and filled with horse-drawn carriages that make you feel like you've stepped back in time. What makes these alleys so special is their unique architecture. They are built narrow on purpose to trap the shade, and during summer, giant fabric canopies, called toldos, are stretched between the buildings to block the sun. As you walk around, you can find literally everything, from local musicians playing guitars to street performers dancing flamenco right on the pavement. And of course, there's no shortage of places to grab a coffee, a gelato, or a bite to eat. Seville is incredibly well prepared for the crowds and the intense summer heat. You'll find endless restaurants offering top-quality, traditional food. Later in the video, we'll dive much deeper into the best spots to eat and their prices. By the way, feel free to use the video chapters if you want to jump straight to a specific part. I did a ton of walking under the bright sun, and surprisingly, even at 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, it felt pretty fresh in the shade. However, I highly recommend bringing a hat and wearing light summer clothes to fully enjoy your trip exploring this beautiful place. Right around the corner from these central streets, you'll stumble upon an attraction that genuinely blows everyone away. Las Setas de Sevilla. Officially named Metropole Parasol, this is a true architectural masterpiece and, fun fact, it's actually recognized as the largest wooden structure in the entire world. It was designed by the German architect Jürgen Mayer and completed in 2011, using more than 3,500 individual wooden pieces held together by high-performance glue. The first time I saw it, I was completely speechless because of its sheer size. The locals nicknamed it Las Setas, which literally means the mushrooms, because of its unique, organic shape that looks like a giant canopy of wooden mushrooms growing over the city. This massive structure sits right in the middle of Plaza de la Encarnación, a historic square that has a crazy backstory. Originally, they wanted to build a parking lot here, but during the excavations, they discovered ancient Roman and Byzantine ruins. So, they changed the plans, built an underground archaeological museum called the Antiquarium, and placed this futuristic monument right on top of it. But let me tell you, Las Setas gives its absolute best at night. The entire structure comes to life with an immersive light and sound show called Aurora, where the illumination responds to the movement of the wind and the crowd. Plus, you can take a lift straight to the top and walk along a winding 250-meter panoramic walkway to admire a breathtaking 360-degree view of Seville's skyline. A standard ticket costs 12 euros, and it actually includes entry to the underground ruins as well. The elevator takes you directly to the top of this massive monument, standing 26 meters, about 85 feet tall. Pro tip for your trip: try to book your tickets online a few hours in advance, especially around sunset, because the queue for the ticket office can get incredibly long, and you definitely don't want to miss the golden hour from up there. Let's move right along to another absolute highlight of Seville, the Royal Alcázar. The main entrance is located right in Plaza del Triunfo, literally just a few steps away from the massive cathedral. A standard ticket costs €14.50, and let me give you a massive warning. You absolutely must book your time slot online days in advance. They strictly manage the crowds to avoid overcrowding inside, and if you just show up without a ticket, you will most likely be turned away. But once you step through those ancient gates, it is pure magic. The Alcázar is world famous for its stunning mudéjar architecture, a unique style where Christian kings hired Muslim craftsmen to build a palace that looks like a Moorish dream. In fact, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you'll immediately recognize this place as the Water Gardens of Dorne. Now, let's head into the greenest part of the Alcázar, its magnificent gardens. I was honestly blown away when I realized just how massive this lush paradise is. Every single corner is perfectly manicured. What I definitely didn't expect was to see animals wandering around completely unbothered. I managed to spot beautiful peacocks and ducks, but if you look closely at the ancient trees, you can also find green parrots flying around. And the large ponds are filled with massive, colorful carp. These green expanses are famous for combining Islamic garden design, where water represents life in paradise, with Renaissance labyrinth styles. I was completely stunned by the attention to detail that the Moorish and Spanish rulers put into building this place. Spectacular fountains, water mazes, and architecture created to perfection. It feels like a fairy tale. And historically, this is actually where the Spanish royal family stays whenever they visit Seville. It's recognized as the oldest royal palace still in use in Europe. By the way, if you catch a super sunny and hot day like I did, don't worry at all. Inside the gardens, there's a lovely cafe where you can grab a cold drink, an iced coffee, and take a quick break to recharge your batteries before exploring more. And if you're lucky, you'll get some cute little ducks coming right up to your table to keep you company while you relax, just like they did with me. All right, fully refreshed and rested, it's time to head deeper into the wildest and most isolated part of the gardens. There's a fascinating legend about this hidden zone. It's said that these dense, labyrinth-like gardens were designed with secret underground tunnels and hidden water traps. In fact, under the famous Charles V Pavilion, there are hidden water jets in the pavement called burladores, or tricksters, that used to spray unsuspecting guests with water just for the king's amusement. Walking through this quiet paradise completely isolates you from the bustling city outside. But wait, the Alcázar experience doesn't end out in the gardens. There is still a fascinating indoor and underground section you absolutely have to explore. First, you'll descend into a hauntingly beautiful vaulted gallery beneath the palace. These are the famous baths of Lady Maria de Padilla. It's a series of rainwater tanks underneath the patio, where the perfectly still water creates a mirror-like reflection that looks completely surreal. Right next to this area, you'll find the Cuarto Real Alto and the Admiral's Hall, where they carefully preserve incredible historical treasures, including ancient seafaring maps and royal artifacts from the golden age of Spanish exploration. On top of that, there's a jaw-dropping wing of the palace dedicated entirely to massive, room-sized artwork. This is the famous Tapestry Hall, showcasing enormous, intricately woven tapestries from the 16th century that depict the conquests of Emperor Charles V, alongside spectacular paintings by major Spanish court artists. I was honestly stunned to see paintings of this scale right in front of my eyes. The sheer level of detail is insane. Right after wrapping up this gallery, you'll hit the exit of the Alcázar, which brings you right out into the open, offering a mind-blowing front row view of the massive Seville Cathedral. Talk about a perfect transition. All this exploring is guaranteed to work up a massive appetite, so I think it's finally time to dive into Seville's incredible food scene. We're starting right next to Plaza del Salvador, which is famous for being one of the most vibrant squares in the city, packed with locals enjoying outdoor drinks and tapas. The food quality here is top-notch. I highly recommend trying the traditional Andalusian tapas, but you absolutely cannot leave without ordering the cheesecake. It's an absolute game changer. For a full, super filling meal here, you're looking at around 20 to 30 euros, which is amazing value. Now, let's move on to a fantastic dinner spot right in the heart of the historic center. If you want that classic Spanish vibe, this is it. As you can see, I started things off with a selection of local tapas, like tuna tapa, followed by the ultimate main course, a traditional paella. I have to say, the portion size was massive, definitely enough to share. Prices here are slightly higher because of the prime location, ranging from 30 to 40 euros for a complete dinner with authentic local dishes. If you are more of a meat lover, then you absolutely need to check out this restaurant, located right in Plaza de la Encarnación, just a stone's throw away from Las Setas. The service here was genuinely excellent. As always, we kicked things off with some tapas as an appetizer, and then moved to the main event, perfectly crispy Andalusian fried calamares fritos, and a spectacular plate of traditional Spanish grilled meat, served with potatoes and salad. The value here is insane. For just 30 euros, you get a massive, high-quality meal. All over the city center, you can find tons of amazing spots serving up these mouth-watering brunches for under 20 euros, which is an absolute steal. Now, if you've been eating Spanish food for days and want to switch things up with something different, I've got the perfect spot for you. Head over to the Nervión Plaza shopping mall, which is a great modern hub, easily reachable by metro. Inside, you'll find tons of famous restaurants and fast food chains, but I went straight for this amazing all-you-can-eat sushi restaurant. The fish quality was surprisingly fresh and high-end. A highly recommended break if you need a quick pause from all that paella. Let's head out, because now I want to show you not just one of the most beautiful squares in Seville, but honestly, one of the most breathtaking, jaw-dropping plazas in all of Spain. I'm talking about the iconic Plaza de España. This place is an absolute architectural masterpiece, and while it's beautiful during the day, I personally highly recommend visiting it in the evening or right at dusk. Trust me, seeing the entire crescent-shaped structure light up without the chaotic daytime crowds of tourists allows you to absorb the whole vibe in complete magical tranquility. Words genuinely cannot describe the incredible attention to detail put into this place by the legendary local architect Aníbal González, who mixed Renaissance and Moorish styles to create something completely unique. As you walk around, the first thing that catches your eye is the water flowing through the middle. This isn't a natural river, but a stunning 500-meter-long artificial canal where you can actually rent small rowboats for a romantic ride. The 4 spectacular, colorful bridges crossing the canal aren't just for show. They have a deep historical meaning, representing the 4 ancient kingdoms of Spain: Castile, León, Aragon, and Navarre. If you look closely at the walls of the main building, you'll notice 48 beautiful tiled alcoves, each decorated with vibrant Andalusian ceramic tiles called azulejos. Each alcove represents a different Spanish province, showing its map and a historical scene. And it's a huge tradition for Spanish tourists to come here and take a photo with their hometown bench. Now, you might be wondering about these massive, palace-like buildings wrapping around the square. Historically, nobody actually lived here. They were built for the Grand Ibero-American Exposition of 1929, a World's Fair designed to showcase Spain's power and to seal peace and trade with its former American colonies. Today, these spaces are used for government offices and military headquarters, but cinema history was also made right under these arches. Movie buffs will immediately recognize this place as the city of Theed on the planet Naboo from Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, and it was also used in classic movies like Lawrence of Arabia. Walking here at night, with the reflection of the bridges on the still water and the glowing golden lights, feels like stepping straight onto an epic movie set. Of course, our trip wouldn't be complete without visiting the breathtaking Casa de Pilatos. This palace is legendary for being the absolute finest example of a 16th century Andalusian noble residence, mixing traditional Spanish-Moorish mudéjar style with elegant Italian Renaissance design. A standard ticket costs 12 euros, and what I love most about this place is how incredibly peaceful it is. Unlike the crowded Royal Alcázar, you won't find massive waves of tourists here, making it a fresh and breezy escape from the city heat. There are so many fascinating corners to explore inside, especially the ground floor rooms. These halls feature one of the largest collections of azulejos in the world, with over 150 different designs of vibrant 16th century ceramic tiles, topped with magnificent, intricately carved wooden ceilings. But the ultimate highlight is the outdoor courtyard and its perfectly manicured gardens, filled with blooming bougainvillea and classical loggias. As you walk around, you'll spot an impressive collection of ancient Roman statues. These aren't replicas, they are authentic 2,000-year-old Roman sculptures representing gods and historical figures, shipped directly from Italy during the Renaissance by the Duke of Alcalá. If you want the complete Seville experience, I highly recommend adding this hidden gem to your itinerary. It's like stepping into a private, peaceful sanctuary of art and history. The moment has finally arrived to discover the spectacular Seville Cathedral, an absolutely massive, mind-blowing structure. Fun fact, it is officially the largest Gothic cathedral in the entire world and the third largest church overall. It was built in the 15th century over the remains of a 12th century Almohad mosque, which gives it this incredible blend of Islamic and Christian history. Currently, a standard entry ticket that includes access to the Giralda Tower will cost you 17 euros. However, if you want a deeper experience, you can get a full guided tour package covering the cathedral, the Alcázar, and the Giralda for about 65 euros, which is highly recommended if you want to skip the lines and learn the history. The second you step inside, you are instantly hit by a wave of awe. The ceiling is incredibly high, standing at 42 meters, and the interior is packed with priceless religious treasures. You will see ancient holy water fonts, massive historical choir books handcrafted by monks, and centuries-old masterpieces by famous painters like Murillo and Goya. But the real showstopper inside is the Retablo Mayor, the largest altarpiece in Christendom, covered in over 3 tons of real gold. And that's not all. This cathedral is also the final resting place of the legendary explorer Christopher Columbus, whose tomb is held up by 4 massive statues representing the kingdoms of Spain. By the way, there is so much history hidden in these walls. Drop a comment down below if you want me to make a separate, highly detailed video dedicated entirely to the secrets of this cathedral. From the inside, you can access the famous Giralda Tower, which was originally the minaret of the old mosque. But I have to give you a massive warning. There are 34 levels to reach the top, and they must be done completely on foot because there is no elevator. However, here is a fascinating twist. Instead of stairs, you will be walking up a continuous, smooth ramp. Why? Because back in the day, the Muslim muezzin had to ride his horse all the way up to the top 5 times a day to call for prayer. The climb is definitely a workout and gets quite steep, but once you finally make it to the top, the panoramic view of Seville's skyline is absolutely spectacular. Just keep in mind that the balconies are fully screened with iron bars. While it's a bit annoying for taking photos, it's a necessary safety measure to prevent tourists from accidentally dropping objects onto the crowds below. It is a breathtaking experience, and despite the burning legs, it is worth every single step. This is the famous square I mentioned earlier, the absolute heart of Seville's nightlife and social scene, Plaza del Salvador. This place is world famous for its legendary outdoor social vibe. It's the ultimate spot in the city for what locals call El Tardeo, which is meeting up with friends in the late afternoon for a freezing cold glass of beer or vermouth right out on the cobblestones. The energy here is contagious, and it's all set against the breathtaking backdrop of the Iglesia del Salvador, a massive, stunning, pink Baroque church that dominates the entire square. Surrounding the plaza, you'll find some of the most beautiful, vibrant pedestrian streets in Seville, lined with orange trees, traditional shops, and historic tapas bars. Whether you want to grab a bite, people watch, or just soak in the authentic Andalusian lifestyle, you absolutely have to experience this place as the sun goes down. As I mentioned earlier, Plaza de la Encarnación is an absolute vibe. The square is packed with lively bars, restaurants, gelato shops, and so much more. In the evening, it becomes a huge gathering spot where tourists and locals come to unwind, grab a drink, and if you're lucky, you'll run into some incredibly talented street musicians performing right in the middle of this fantastic square. Right beneath the structure, you'll find the Mercado de la Encarnación. This market is actually famous for being one of the oldest and most traditional fresh food markets in Seville, dating back to 1831, where locals have bought fresh fish, meat, and vegetables for generations. I wanted to explore the whole place, but when I walked in, I noticed that most of the shutters were completely closed. I quickly realized this was because of the classic Spanish schedule. Traditional markets here close right after lunchtime, around 3 p.m., for the siesta, and they stay closed on Sundays too. Unlike the touristy restaurants outside, this is a real local market, so if you want to experience it in full swing, you absolutely have to visit in the morning. When it comes to finding a place to stay, Seville has an endless amount of options, from cozy guest houses to luxury boutiques. For my trip, I chose as my home base the Hotel Sevilla Macarena. This is a beautiful 4-star hotel located in the vibrant, historic Macarena neighborhood, right next to the Parliament of Andalusia and directly facing the ancient, beautifully preserved Moorish walls of the city. For the exact room you're looking at right now, during the peak summer season, the price came out to around 170 euros a night. Honestly, that is a fantastic deal considering the high quality of the hotel and its location. While it's slightly outside the crowded tourist core, it's incredibly well connected. You can easily catch a quick bus right outside or enjoy a scenic 20-minute walk straight into the historic center. Plus, there is a massive bonus. It features a spectacular rooftop pool. Trust me, when you're visiting Seville in the summer heat, having a pool to dive into and relax after a long day of walking and exploring is an absolute lifesaver. It's the perfect way to recharge for the next adventure. To wrap up this incredible trip in style, we absolutely cannot miss the iconic Torre Sevilla. This massive skyscraper is a true modern landmark, standing at a staggering 180 meters tall with 40 floors, making it officially the tallest building in all of Andalusia. But before we head to the very top, let's take a quick look right beneath it. Here you'll find the Centro Comercial Torre Sevilla, a fantastic open-air shopping mall packed with trendy international brands, local shops, and plenty of spots to grab a quick bite or a coffee. It's the perfect place to do some shopping or just relax. Now, to get the ultimate view of the city, we are heading up to the observation deck. Entry tickets are around €8, and let me tell you, it is worth every cent. Once you step out onto the terrace, you'll find super comfortable lounge sofas and an incredibly sleek, elegant bar. It's the ultimate spot to grab a drink, unwind, and just soak in the mind-blowing 360-degree panoramic view of Seville's skyline. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please take a quick second to smash that subscribe button for more travel vlogs and beautiful destinations just like this one. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video and leave a comment down below telling me what city should we explore next. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.